What's popular, YouTube? Another day, another demo, and now the companion to number 3, okay? This is where we talk some now about what the deal is between number 2 and number 3. And for those of you who are scratching your heads like,
what are you even talking? What are you talking about? Like, we don't even know who number 2 is yet.
That's true, and I won't spoil it, so we'll just chill for a second. Launders, how do I get better at Counter-Strike? I watch the demo and I don't see any mistakes. My teammates are bots and I always lose. Hold up. Stop right there. Let me tell you about Scope.gg. Scope is the best way to go over your stats so that you can pinpoint what it is about your game that you need to improve upon or need to focus less on so you can spend your time more wisely. Scope is a specialized analytics platform for CSGO players that's free to use. Log in with Steam or Faceit and auto-upload your CSGO demos for review and track your day-to-day in-game performance. Take a look at your most and least effective positions on each map, get in-depth analysis on your utility usage, and you can even use Scope to learn the nades you don't know. Best of all, Scope has a super nice looking demo viewer so you can see all your teammates' bad rotations so you don't have to make the same mistakes. Draw up strats with the easy to use tactical board, and when you're done, hop in a warm-up with Scope's very own practice servers. Join now and find your perfect teammate. As always, link in the description below, and thank you to Scope.gg for sponsoring this video. And I'll just say, extraordinary year. We're about to round it out. After this, I'm going to take a break. I've just been grinding content nonstop. I've actually recorded all the demos from top 4 tonight on the night of New Year's Eve, just because I'm in the mood and I want to get this done, and I feel like it's been kind of fun to watch these games and these players we've all been waiting for, so kind of just in it right now, but didn't expect to do it, but hope everyone's happy and healthy. If you aren't, I hope this next year, these next few days, everything is going to be better for y'all. And yes, I hope you've been enjoying the list, just trying to make this to make CSGO fun for some more people, and we look forward to a great 2022. And as well as the HLTV Top 20, which will be coming out, I believe it starts January 5th. Someone corrected me, and will go on for 20 days. And I recommend everybody read through and read all the articles and get some context on some of the players that you've seen this year play, because HLTV does a fantastic job of creating content around them. That's what it's all about. So yes, here we are into number 2. Who is it gonna be? This player is a player whose last name you don't pronounce every letter. This player is a player who, he's a phenom. He's another phenom. He's a prodigy. He's insane. He's, for some, the greatest player. For some, the second greatest player of all time. For some, a hacker. He must be a hacker. Who knows? This guy is one. Well, that was kind of a little bit of a clue, huh? Everyone's been pronouncing his name incorrectly every single year. I tried to pronounce it the correct way, but everyone got mad at me. All right, so I stopped. I just started pronouncing it the crude way in English that I know doesn't sound good, but he said he doesn't care. So this is a guy who pretended he couldn't speak English for like 2 years and scammed his way into not doing any winners or losers interviews. That was pretty smart of him. Another clutch by ZywOo. That's right. The player is ZywOo, baby. Okay. I went right into it. Look, it's the Zygote, okay? He's born on the same day Counter-Strike came out. He's a phenom. He's a prodigy. Everyone called him a fraud. No one knew that this guy could do it. He literally became #1 player 2 years in a row. Simple did get robbed last year, but it was still razor-thin margins. Okay, ZywOo, he is, for me, the second greatest player in the history of the game. I don't care. Like, I've seen every single freaking match since 2013. I've never seen anything like this. In some ways, he's better than Simple. In some ways, he's worse. This year, Simple did what feels like the impossible in maintaining a level of consistency to allow him to overtake ZywOo in a period of time where ZywOo still kept up a 1.30 rating all year round. He had an unbelievable year. You could argue he has the least help of any team in the top 5. Him and literally Apex, maybe Shox or something, are like the second best players. Okay, Masuda, everybody else is wildly inconsistent. ZywOo is way far ahead. Nico and Hunter have each other. Hunter is a much better player than anyone else on Vitality is, but they're both rifling, so there's an argument there. But ZywOo, it's just bonkers. The stats argument goes in favor of ZywOo. Because he has an op, it is obviously not quite as clear-cut because you got to say Nico had the best year of any rifler in history, and maybe of any rifler that we'll ever see in history. It was amazing what Nico would do, but what Nico has done. And we even have a situation, and this is the part of contention for me, is that even though we have the stats argument well in the favor of ZywOo, never says, oh, he's a given for number 2. I would not be mad if he's number 2 on someone else's list. For me, ZywOo was a great player this year, but there was, in the first half of the year, he even said himself that he felt like he had a bad year. But then when it came to crunch time at the end of the year. He just went absolutely astronomical. Event in and out. I couldn't believe it. I was watching. He was the only team to win another LAN that wasn't Navi this year, only because Navi didn't attend. But still, were able to make the finals. They took Navi to Pro League finals online and took it to the last couple of rounds. He had extraordinary rounds. He showed his versatility is the other thing I'm going to talk about the demo, is that this demo that we're going to watch is one versus Nico, okay? And this is at the Blast World Finals on Nuke. 10-1 CT half of Nuke. I know we keep watching Nuke. It just seems to be the most important map for a lot of these players. ZywOo showed in this game that not only is he the number 2 player in the year, or at least arguably, but also if Nico is in contention for him as somebody who does things with a rifle that no one else can do, ZywOo can rifle too. And that's why we're watching this game. If you watch this match, you remember ZywOo was able to shut down Nico outside consistently throughout an entire half and shut out the game. One where G2 had a 9-6 CT side and one round in the second half because ZywOo killed Nico with a rifle over and over again. He later did it with an op. He literally proved that he is more versatile than Nico in the sense that Nico actually can't op at the level that ZywOo can. We saw him try to do that. And even if Nico's smart enough and good enough to do that one day, he didn't do it this year. That's the kind of amazing thing about ZywOo right now. The Arthur fisting thing for Nico fans in the moment is that ZywOo has proved he's a two-way player in that sense, and he's done it at the highest pressure, biggest stage, best opponents. He can rifle with the top 3 as well as op. That's the scariest part about this man, and he recovered the hell out of this year. And even outside of just these last few months, maintained such a level of presence with basically no help that I know, got to give it to him, man. Number 2 of the year. For me, the second best player of all time. An absolutely amazing guy to watch. And yeah, so we're going to hop into the game. I hope you enjoy this and make sure to come back tomorrow. Who you got for number 1? Let me know in the comments below. Let's hop into the match. I didn't plan to record these all in the same day, okay? I'll tell you that much. I had no rush in mind, but I watched the electronic demo earlier and I was like, dude, that was really fun. And honestly, just been, the more I do, the more I've been feeling it. So, okay, come on, ZywOo. You're number 2. Let's get 2 on the pistol. No? Can't do it. Okay. Maybe we can move him back a spot. No, number 3, ZywOo here. Key demo, I think, in the year in favor of ZywOo. And I was dying, with the argument between him and Nico. And I'm really glad to be able to get some of this stuff off my chest now that we're watching this game. I always record the demo and then the intros after because I think it's better that way. But, forgive me if I repeat myself. As someone mentioned, I have done that a couple of times. But in this demo specifically, it's going to be about ZywOo winning over Nico, okay? And I think that a couple of things were exemplified in this demo. Number 1, this is the Blast World Finals, okay? So this is the end of the year. Everyone started playing way better. And that's kind of weird because the end of the year is where the hardest events of the year were, like a number of lands and stuff. So the real, goats of the game, the gods, end up going and achieving and transcending the entirety of the game towards the end of the year when it's the hardest. And it's quite crazy how that actually happens. But we got to just be happy that we were around to witness it. But in this match specifically, it's one of Vitality's best maps right now, and ZywOo puts up good ratings overall. I would say he's not the number 1 nuke player, or even a nuke player that I would look to specifically to learn how he plays the map. I've seen some stuff where I'm like, I think Apex is the best player on Vitality on this map. And even in this game, he had most opening kills, and when they beat Navi's nuke streak, he was the player to watch. But ZywOo still, he's the guy who, no matter what, he seems to continuously get the 1.30 ratings and put up the stats. And that was the story for ZywOo this year, that even halfway through the year, he still had the second best stats in the world of any player with the 1.30 ratings. Yeah, he has an op or whatever, but no other opper was even near him besides Simple, right? So that was like, all right, well, what the hell is going on here? How is he it appears that he's being quiet, but his stats are still really high. And the fact of the matter is, ZywOo might be the second best player to ever touch this game. And he has got number 1 and number 2 in the last 2 years. And now in year 3, I assume he's going to achieve number 2, even though he's got the back-to-back number 1s. And that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I think he's going to get the number 2. I wouldn't be mad at all if Nico was able to get it. And I honestly, it was the one I wanted more, because when I think about ZywOo, I was thinking he literally said about himself earlier, like a few months ago, that he had a bad year. He said that. And that was to reflect the feeling of when you watch the games. Like, Vitality overall, they had limited success this year. And honestly, ZywOo and Apex are pretty much the only good things about them in terms of consistency throughout. And ZywOo's by far and away, like, you know, Apex not even top 20, might be able to squeeze it on HLTVs. I don't know. But literally has the least help of anybody. You know, when talked about Nico, how Nico has Hunter, and the handicap for them is they're rifling. ZywOo gets the buff of opping, but he's literally on an island of his own. And it's not a tropical one, it's a cold one. It's just, you know, it's one north of Russia, it's so cold. You know what I mean? It's tough out here for ZywOo. So, in some sense, it's even crazier to talk about him. And look, this is a game where ZywOo is able to get one over Nico consistently outside, as well as the rest of G2. You know, versus G2 at a LAN at a major event, and ZywOo does it with a rifle. Okay, that's why we're watching this game, and that's why for me this match is so important, and one that I feel like was just honestly super exciting to watch, and also kind of just made me think, man, like, even if Nico is playing this well, and we were in the green room literally talking about how Nico is probably the best player, you know, besides Symbol this year. And, you know, so apart from looking at the stats, just from what we've seen, he's doing things with a rifle that no one's ever seen. But here was ZywOo also simply using a rifle and countering Nico outside, controlling Nuke with a rifle. And you're wondering, like, wait, this is the #1 op position. CT side Nuke controlling outside. But ZywOo, Simple, these guys have already expressed that they, you know, they opt because they're the best people to op, and also they have consistently good impact. And I'm sure they like it a little bit, but they generally actually have said that they would like to rifle, and at different times have tried. Even Simple has tried to just simply rifle, but it doesn't make sense when you have a player that's this good with both guns. If they're equivalently good, then they're going to be able to get, you know, you're going to win more rounds if that player can opt too. And that's the bottom line with CSGO. It's the most important gun in the game for that reason. It's so powerful, and it costs a lot to reflect that, but you can do more ultimately. And when we talk about ZywOo, he's a player who is the #2 player of the year and the #2 opper, maybe of all time, just based on what we've seen from him. And we'll see this storyline continue to unfold. But he also can rifle equivalently well, and that's the argument that I would like to make. So, on one hand, I would say Nico put up stats that another rifler in CSGO may never put up again. I would be comfortable believing that. If someone said that to me, like, yeah, maybe that's true. That's how good Nico's year was. But Nico can't op. We've seen him try it. And even if he could one day, okay, this conversation is about this year. And we talk about ZywOo this year. And we talk about a player who has already proved that he can play at the top, be #1 with an op, but also he can rifle equivalently well. Again, they go 10-1 on the CT side. Okay, ZywOo will finally pick up an op in this position, but we've already seen him hybrid. We've already seen him get kills. Here he counters Nico again in a position where Nico is a beast outside on T sides. And yeah, it's to show off the fact that, like, we now see, like, Inferno, where ZywOo doesn't even op on CT side all the time. They'll pick it up when they need to. If they lose a round, he can make the adjustment. And he's still the primary op of the team. He's not like a Stown. He is the primary op of the team. But sometimes they literally don't need him to op. And that's the crazy part. That's the real crazy part. So honestly, one thing I liked about this evolution, to now turn it towards the demo more, is that when I looked at ZywOo's CT side, I was like, you know what? With his op, he's putting up numbers, but I don't see him being that pervasive. He's not like Simple. He's not all over the place. He kind of plays like between rotator spots, but he doesn't play as committed in different positions as Simple does, and doesn't have that super high impact that you're like, man, you cannot get this guy off your screen. But he is right place, right time in a lot of rounds. But but still, like, I honestly thought that Apex was maybe even better than him sometimes when he was rifling. And, you know, I'm not, that's like a little bit of copium, right? Like, ultimately, without ZywOo's impact, with the op of the rifle on any map, they just wouldn't win games. No one else is consistent enough, not even close. But just to say, that's how well Apex was playing on the CT side and how it almost put ZywOo in a shadow a little bit, you know, especially when you look at some of their big ones like the Nuke win versus Na'Vi at the fall final in the grand finals. But yeah, it's not because he didn't stop opping because he fell off. He just sees that he can actually have equivalently or different levels of impact with his rifle when he needs to. And I thought that even within this year, even when he is opping on the CT side of Nuke, which he still is most of the time. I just brought this up because like, these early rounds, it was like rifle, rifle, rifle. And wait, what's going on here? Why does he have a rifle? Into like literally winning this game. Okay, we're on full alert, waiting for the swing. Let's see if there's any chance. Oh my God. Wait a second. Oh my God. Okay. All right, dude. This is when he like actually calculated this. Nexa dies in the corner. He saw him back sight. And Amanek leaves, and look what ZywOo does here. Like clockwork, man. So nasty, dude. So nasty, this guy. That was a disgusting clutch. I mean, a disgusting 1v2. Crazy, man. Crazy map from him overall. Yeah, just ridiculous stuff. They probably won't expect this double push, so I feel like Nico... Oh, basically everyone's dead. Okay, it's all good. We might have already seen the round that G2 win in this game. See that clutch, man? And the other thing for me is just that, like, for those reasons, like the versatility, the consistent output, the stats arguments in his favor, you don't can really question that. Even if Nico did amazing things with a rifle, whatever. But it's just, for me, I still believe, as good as Nico's gotten, ZywOo's still the better player. For me, he's the second best player I've ever seen, at least for me, play this game. Just period, outright. And I think he's doing a lot to make that argument even stronger with his consistent rifling cameos on different maps. So yeah, I don't know, man. This guy he's a test tube baby. I don't know. He's born on the day that Counter-Strike came out. He's just a monster, man. He's just it's just insane. Like, I don't even know, rookie year _1 to back-to-back #1s to top 2-3 years in a row. I don't even know what to say, man. And somehow still Simple can be better than him. But then you have ZywOo just like right behind him. And this whole thing is just such a mind-blowing timeline in the best way possible. I mean, I'm here, I'm perplexed, but at the same time, I'm just salivating. It's just so sick. It must be, I would hate to be either Simple, Nico, or ZywOo, simply because they have two other guys who are like 1 in a million players, and if either of them didn't exist, then the other one would just be the best player in CSGO history and #1 5 years. You know what I mean? It's amazing for the fans. It's amazing for us to be able to see. And if you're just joining into CSGO, you came in at a spectacular time, and things are only going to get better in 2022 with teams reorganizing around Navi's dominance. But yeah, a stellar game. A shutdown here on CT side. Consistent outer kills versus Nico and his teammates. The clutch that we saw. A complete shutout. Beautiful stuff. That showed us why Vitality actually are a great Nuke team. And again, they do it off the back of Apex and ZywOo primarily. And Shock's playing Squeaky. He's actually a really great Squeaky player, I would say. But for the most part, these are the ones writing the stories right now. And there you have it. A complete blowout. It's over. It's done with. Vitality win, and it is a match in the upper bracket semifinals where Vitality were able to take G2 down. The G2 go down to play Na'Vi. They lose to Na'Vi and they're out. And Nico is having the tournament of his life, but he gets eliminated off the back of that. And everyone struggles to play versus Na'Vi. And I will say, Zaiwu and Nico are two of the only players with an above 1.10 versus Na'Vi online throughout the year. Insane stuff. Both incredible talents. This list was so hard to make just simply because of these two. For me, what we saw this year was spectacular out of both of them. You know, huge round of applause. Incredible scenes. We're so lucky to be CSGO fans in this timeline. So yeah, hope you love that. And tomorrow, the very special number one is coming up. So crown the champ. Who is number one this year? And yeah, make sure to join us then. So if you liked it, comment, like, subscribe. Who you got for number one? Let me know in the comments below. Can't get a notification on the video. Thank you so much. Be safe, everybody. Take care.